Hello, once again, I'm brschultzSP500. It is end of day, October 9th, late at night. Winding down for the day, 10 o'clock, the kids are asleep. Gives me my chance to go down to my corner of the house and my getaway at least, and pull up the computer and throw together another forecast. So looking at part 45 tonight, and I want to give you an alternative for the double bottom. Still saying it could be around October 22nd, 23rd for the first bottom, and then end of October for the second low. I think before I said like around October 27th, but tonight I'm going to say that some models even point as late as October 30th. So I believe we have the Fed meeting on, what is that, the 29th? So the 30th would be the day after, so plus or minus a day, obviously, gets you right around the Fed date, right around the Fed meeting. So I'll show you the trends, why that, what's showing up on the models, and I think there's a lot of clarity around the trend itself. And then I'll also show you the macro gold wave, what I believe is showing like a bust scenario into the end of October. So I think the short situation is still valid until the end of October, very much so in my opinion. That there could be a chance of a nice sizable crash in markets into the end of October. So, and then I kind of already have the next peak hashed out from where markets would go up from the end of October, but that will be in another video. Solus Christus, my brothers and sisters in Christ around the world. My favorite Bible verse is 1 John 4:10. All right, let's dive into the models. And I waited to the end of the last video to say thank you for those that sent donations when the predicted peak around October 3rd came. That was predicted to be around 6,800, right? And so the other, I think yesterday, we saw 67.75, so obviously that is very close to 6,800, so that was gorgeous. So the prediction of 6,800 around October 3rd was phenomenal, very gorgeous. Love it. That means that the pricing formula that I'm using seems to be somewhat valid, right? Considerably reasonable. So obviously I have more to learn on that. I can tweak my formula and different ways of looking at it. So, you know, over time, everyone tweaks things over time. So I imagine I will too. But the basic structure of how I calculate that is there, and it seems to be somewhat reasonable for estimating prices. So again, I'm looking for about 6,400, I believe, around by the end of October, on around I should say on or before the end of October. And with this graph here, this is the Einstein model, and essentially what we're seeing here is the dark blue, or I should just say the blue trend line. It picks up most of the hits, and that hits its final bottom around the 22nd, 23rd of October. And then you can see the notch just underneath my name tag there up at the top, around where it says forecast only and then my name. If you drop down a little bit, where that yellow trend line is just hitting the very corner of that graph there, that's where you get the alternate or the secondary bottom, right? So that could fall at the very end of October, right? It could be the day prior to month end. It could be, you know, we could start off the very last day of the month very badly, and then, you know, then the Fed steps in the last 2 hours of trading and then just juices it to the moon. But nonetheless, the model is proposing that there'll be two buy points, two bottoms, two lows, two buy points in markets around you know, the October 22nd, and then around the end of October. So we can look at some short-term models now. This is the Einstein model. This is what I call the Einstein model. It seems to be pretty smart. Doesn't really require any waves. Just throwing in a trend line and hitting a lot of turning points right in the model. So I like it. Very, very basic math, right? Very, very third grade, maybe even below fifth grade. Just third grade. Just make the line fit. Can you do that? You can pass third grade. At the beginning of third grade, I'm sure a lot of kids can't do similar things, but by the end of third grade, hopefully I could do that. Yeah, I always enjoyed drawing triangles and squares and circles when I was a young lad, strapping lad. So yeah, this is the Einstein model, and again, thank you for everyone that has subscribed, donated, yada yada yada, and hopefully my model continues to prove that it's worth its salt. So futures right now are at 67.55. It's around 10 p.m. here. So they're just stalling right after the model's call of a peak around October 3rd. We've done nothing but stall. So it was a great call by the model. Validates the definitely validates the short-term peak model timing. You know, we didn't scream another 200 points higher. That's always nice to see. You know, when you call something and then it just freezes everything, or obviously like it to crash, but it freezes everything, right? So holding is good. So I'm short. I'm waiting for the bottom, and if I want to go long, it looks like I may have to wait till the end of October. I mean, unless there's a really good buy point around the 22nd or 23rd, that might be, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what's interesting is if we dive, it could be wave 4 down into October 22nd, and then we could pop, and I'm not even sure what that looks like in the model, because I know the math in the back of my head, but obviously I can't let too much of it slip out. But maybe the Fed really crushes markets into that 30th point, or maybe it's a buy point when the Fed speaks. I'm not sure, you know, so I still need to watch it play out. All I know is the model's projecting that there's 2 major buy points there. So you should see major upside or a bounce up after each of those dates, around those dates. So, and then obviously after, I believe the last bottom is at the end of October, so I believe that's when the most upside would occur, is starting in November going forward. All the 401k money comes dumping in the early, maybe the last day of October, first couple days of November, so it really starts to juice the market again. But we could have a pretty bad ending. So, and again, I'm looking for 63.50 to 6400 is my conservative estimate for pricing value for the low at the end of October. All right, let's move on to the other graphs, the other models. So this is the red wave. This is my Homer Simpson ultimate couch potato model that I've been working on over the past, 5, 6, 7 months. And the thing about this trend that you're seeing right now in that dark black dashed line is it really doesn't break the trend of the red, right? It doesn't cross over, doesn't cross thread over the red channels. So it's still pretty clean. My 1022 trend actually starts at the white number 2 there, and projects out to about the 22nd plus or minus a day. And then I was looking at it, I'm like, wow, you know, you really could argue that you're hitting 1 pretty clean off the edge of the red wave at 0.1, and 0.4 you're really hitting the edge there too. So in my opinion, the clearest shot to the in this model is to the 22nd or 23rd of October. So I would hope that would be the lowest low in the market. But I could easily be proved wrong. You know, I think August 1st was the lowest low, and there's a very clear trend that you're seeing in the middle of the graph out to about August 20th, 21st. And I don't think that was the lowest low. Let me look real quick. Okay, August 20th only bottomed around 63.50 in the SPX 500 USD, and August 1st was 62.25. So it was 100 points higher by mid-August. So you would want to have had caught the first low in early August. So it's up to, obviously, it's fielder's choice when we get up to the 22nd, 23rd low. Hopefully there's a significant loss in markets. Hopefully maybe it's 5, 6, 7% down. And then maybe I might start considering averaging in for my own personal longs. And then maybe the latter portion going long around the 30th. I don't know. I'll have to see what levels we're at again. See how bad we're sold off into the 22nd, 23rd. Now there is what I was talking about, the formula in the background for the Einstein model. There is a possibility that we kind of go sideways into the 22nd, 23rd, have some kind of big dip into the 22nd, 23rd. Then we have some kind of pop back up to where we are right now, and then we collapse one more time into the end of the month. So that would create like a 5-wave and exhaustion into the end of the month. So that's a possibility too. Obviously it's difficult to know. Well, let's move on to the gold wave, and I think that's where if that's accurately or incorrectly, efficiently set up, I think that's a good argument for a stronger down move in the market than just flat. So let's move on to that. So this is the original gold wave. I think I created it back in, my goodness, back in 2010 maybe, 2011. Yeah, this is one of my original models, was that gold wave. And essentially it's kind of got a tabletop pattern going out to the end of October. So essentially you're seeing the graph up near the top of the chart in this one. And usually when you have this structure of a tabletop pattern or an S-curve, so to speak, in the model, it creates a pretty strong tension in the markets downwards. Usually an S-curve could absorb, could take 10% out of the market. But this tabletop method, it's always a puzzle to me. It's not always as powerful as an S-shape type of pattern in the gold wave. But I would still assume that it could take 5 to 7% out of the market. Obviously, the biggest crashes you've seen in the markets are usually identified by an S-shape pattern, not on the top of both of the gold wave crests, but usually one or two are at the bottom of the crest. So you see the gold wave to the far left of your screen at the end of 2022. If you were to have the trend line start down there in the bottom and then bank off a top of the gold wave where 3 and 4 is, that's what I mean by an S-shaped curve, S-shaped pattern, where this is a double top. So I believe that we still should see a pretty significant drawdown in markets and a suitable bottom to buy into at the end of October. So that's my general consensus at looking at this. So I'm brschultzSP500. If you want to donate to my obviously, if we see a really nice correction, you make some money on this, and you want to donate to my GoFundMe, you certainly can. The link is in the description below, or some of you prefer PayPal or Venmo. I think there's a Cash App even out there on some of my older videos, if you want to. I think those are in like the first 4 months of 2025. So yeah, you got all those options there if that's what you want to do. This is a 10-year walk, 10-year journey into the end of 2034. I believe will be the Great Depression window from 2031 through 2033. I see probably the worst part of the Great Depression window is 2031 through 2033, and I believe that the bottom will be in maybe March or April or even into Father's Day of 2034. And that obviously there could be a major drop in the middle class, possibly. I believe that's why President Trump structured some of his deals, like with Japan and things of that nature, to go through 2035, because he knows the Great Depression cycle, the agricultural depression that was in the 1830s, and then the Great Depression in the 1930s, and obviously the 2030 all-electric mandate that was originally created to create a euphoric hypersonic move up in the stocks, and then to create worldwide chaos. The globalists were all over that one. Trump swatted that one down, so that's good. That's great. And I'm sure now that it'll be called the AI bubble, or the bubble of all things, at the end of 2030. And then you have that the period of 2031 through 2034. You have a very bad window of economic activity, I believe. So hopefully President Trump is able to mitigate a lot of that risk in the early 2030s. And yeah, that's the way I view it right now. And yeah, so hopefully you're enjoying my forecast. Hopefully you're amazed by the call at October 3rd. How it just stopped the markets in its tracks. Obviously, you saw the miscalculation I had, what I call like a peak around July 18th, and it ended up being like July 30th, so I was off by 10 or about 10 days. And obviously, I did a little tweaking, a little adjusting, back testing, things of that nature, and it looks like it proved worthwhile. So hopefully you see the fruits of that labor, and hopefully we see a nice big bottom at the end of October to buy into. And I'm going to try to play my 401k like a crazy man into the end of 2030, where I believe that the final peak is in markets. We get the brokerage link option in our 401k, I found out, so I'm even more ecstatic about that. So I want to see. I got 5 years to really try to use my timing to grow my 401k. I'm not a financial professional in any way, shape, or form. I recommend everyone speak with a financial professional prior to making any investment decisions. I'm not professional. I'm not licensed. I only look at models all day and try to figure out markets through my models. I just love Excel and math. So again, I'm not a licensed professional, so please speak with a licensed professional in the financial planning field. And I get lots of advice there, lots of counseling, lots of insights, other people's opinion, because mine's not always the best, that's for sure. But anywho, looking for hopefully a nice market sell-off by the end of October, and then I'll get out of I'll exit my longs, and then exit my shorts near the end of October, and hopefully get the opportunity to really dig into a nice sell-off, go long. And then I have the peak already set up in my mind, but I'll save that for a next video, so you'll be anxiously anticipating the release of part 46. Thank you for watching. I'm brschultzSP500, and thank you for joining me on this long journey over the next decade. Take care. As of, let's see here, on October 3rd, I saw that a few people donated on my GoFundMe page. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Huge target, obviously, huge goal. But you got to throw out huge goals every now and then just for fun, right? You never know. But every gift means the world to me. It truly does. I'm thankful for it. And I leave it in the Lord's hands. If He wants to get me up to $750,000 by the end of 2034, hopefully my work earns it, right? I want to operate at such a level where my salary is worth more than the New York stock market hedge funds and the Connecticut hedge funds, right? I want my work to speak for itself. I want my work to outpace and dunk over all the competition, like Michael Jordan played against his competitors back in the day. But essentially, I want that to be that's where I'm going to hold myself to that standard, right? So I'm really excited about this new pricing theorem that I've applied, that I've learned, that I feel like the Lord has been gracious to teach me, because I don't think that you can really understand mysteries in the stock market that are extremely accurate unless God Himself is merciful to you, and after years and years and years of prayer, shows such mercy. Like was it Daniel who could decipher dreams, or was it also Joseph? So I believe that's the only way that's going to really happen, is if God Himself has mercy on you and grants such wisdom. So that's my hope. And obviously, if it is, then maybe He'll also provide the provision with such accuracy, right? I want the accuracy to be there. I don't want it to be out of pity or anything else like that, right? I don't want the public to think, oh, people just pity him. No, I don't want that to be at all. I want it to be because my work is top level, right? Far beyond the levels of my competition in the space, by highly trained professionals and those that have been educated in the field. I want my work to either be at their level or extremely superior to the work and their estimates. So thank you so much for watching me. I'm brschultzSP500. Until next time, take care. All right, so Nightcap here this is Nightcap, and he wants to say a final word on the video. If you're still watching this, you must either really be bored to tears, or maybe you just let this play on forever and you didn't realize that this video was still playing, or you're Nightcap or one of the other kids watching in the future. Nightcap, you have anything you want to say to yourself in the future if you're watching this video?
Don't screw up and make good life choices.
Excellent words of wisdom for yourself. All right, buddy. Thanks for making the tail end of the video. You want to sign off for the evening?
No.
No? All right, buddy.